greatest daredevils in the world got his start right here in Knoxville. And this guy does something I wouldn't dream of doing in a million years. He climbs up the outside of buildings. Now, we all remember Ron Broyles when he climbed to the top of the United American Bank Plaza here in downtown Knoxville. And in the years since he made that climb, Ron has moved on to bigger and better buildings. You know, in doing the story on Ron, he seems to be a very intelligent young man. He's got a college degree. He really knows what he's doing. But I wouldn't do what he does for anything in the world.
The first question is, can I do it? Because that's one of the reasons I climbed the building, just to get to the top, just to see if I can overcome the obstacles. And there are a great number of obstacles to overcome in climbing the building.
Now, what you've got here is a unique person. He's intelligent, calm, and quite fearless. For what he does, some call him just plain crazy. Ron Broyles has no use for elevators. He merely climbs up the outside of the building.
How do you answer the people who say, you know, you're just plain crazy?
I would just say that it takes, to climb a building, it's more than just going up and looking at it, hopping on and going up. It takes a lot of planning, logistics, engineering knowledge. To make the thing come off successfully is quite an endeavor.
Only 4 men in the entire world have the experience and the courage to climb up buildings, and this is one of them. There was a race between the 4 to climb the highest building, won when Dan Goodwin raced up the Sears Tower in Chicago.
I don't think I'll ever get tired of climbing. I may run out of buildings. Now it's a matter of technique, because all the big ones have been climbed. Sears Tower, World Trade Center, and now it's just a matter of finding the most difficult buildings to climb.
Well, everybody has to start somewhere. For Ron, it started in Knoxville, Tennessee, the United American Bank Plaza, 300 feet of sheer terror.
I knew the equipment was going to work because we tested it weeks before, and we knew that it was good and that the design was good, and there was no chance of me falling from the equipment. But the other was an unknown. You know, are they going to throw me under the jail? Am I going to get to see my family, or do I go straight to Alcatraz? I had no idea at that point.
Today, when he reminisces about it, the sun is out. The day he climbed, it rained. That should have been warning enough. But nobody had noticed him yet.
So I'm going, what am I going to have to do, you know, to get a little attention? Or so I started screaming, hey, I'm up on the side of this building. Doesn't anybody care? And at that point, one of the security guards came out, and he was looking around like this. And I said, hey, I'm up here. And he goes, you better get down from there. The only thing I was really concerned about while I was climbing was if it started raining again, because I say it had been raining that morning, and if it would have started, then the tracks would get wet, and that could cause, I could just see me sliding down 27 stories to the street, which would have ruined my whole day.
Even though it was interesting, it wasn't challenging enough. By this time, Goodwin had already climbed the world's tallest building. But what about the world's tallest hotel? Atlanta's Peachtree Plaza would never be the same.
The humorous thing about that was, I think, was I was going by hotel rooms, and people were engaged in various activities in these hotel rooms, and it became humorous at certain points. I'd rather not elaborate on that, you can imagine, but they were quite concerned and surprised to see me going up outside their hotel room while they're doing all these various and sundry things. Yeah.
Now, Ron was really considering himself quite a stuntman after the Atlanta assault. Besides worldwide recognition, he also acquired one other distinction. He's the only urban mountaineer in the world who now climbs in a white tuxedo. But stuntmen belong in Hollywood, right? Well, in case you're into climbing like Ron is, LA just happens to have the tallest building in the West.
I thought it was a long way down, and actually the last thing he had to worry about was us going over the edge and trying to pick him off. Nobody was going to volunteer to go down the side of that building.
In the wee hours of a Monday morning, people going to work in downtown LA looked up and noticed something out of place on the 62-story Interstate Bank building.
It's a good feeling because you look down there and you see everybody coming into work, and you see all the people staying around, and the traffic backed up. I know I've got a lot of enemies out there because of that, but you kind of feel like that you're doing something a little out of the ordinary that's special, and it gives you a feeling of accomplishment.
As always, the welcome committee at the top was composed of police officers.
Good, though, and as far as the police and fire authorities go, that they just said, don't worry, we're not going to try to hose you off as they tried to do today in Goodwin in Chicago. We're not going to try to impede progress. We'll just wait on you at the top.
You could be just about anywhere when the urge to climb a building comes over you. It came over Ron once again, and he's just met his challenge. San Francisco's Transamerica Pyramid has just been assaulted. And sure enough, the police try to talk him down. Ron remembers officers pretty well.
The guy says, look, he'd pulled all the aces out of the hole, everything he had, he'd used at me, and I'm still on the side of the building. He said, look, this is probably the last football game of the season. It's Monday night. I'm going to miss the last football game of the season if you don't get off this building. And then I knew how serious he was, because he had just thrown it all out on the table, and here he's trying to get me down with that one.
Well, Ron's mood is about to change. In his research on the pyramid, he underestimated the distance between windows and floors. Not only did he not make it to the top of the pyramid, but somewhere around the 35th floor,
I almost fell. I made a mental mistake. The fatigue had set in, and I placed a cam in a crack, and you usually have to jerk on it to set it, and I didn't do that. I was just so anxious to get it in there and rest that I put it in, I set back on it, and it fell out. And I had another one in, thank God. But at that point, I knew, look, it's not going to be worth it. There's a good possibility you can die here. Let's just call it quits.
And call it quits he did.
Mom, you got to admit one thing. Even though you don't like me climbing buildings, I still eat my veggies.
When Ron can relax at home in Tennessee, he does.
Pick this baby up here. What do we got?
And we have to assume that behind every great urban mountaineer, there is his mother, who's always worried about her son.
It sort of worries me, and I just wondered, well, has he got his equipment, fixed right? And I know he's always careful and everything, but still, you can't help from worrying. And I just ask the Lord to take care of him.
So with all the risks involved, why does he do it?
I enjoy doing things that no one else has done. For one thing, I won't climb a building that's already been climbed. I enjoy the challenge of trying to engineer something that works, that I've done, and that apparently is to some people impossible.